Nitpick. Welcome to the Munchtendo card showcase, where I'll be going over all the cards I made for Nintendo Munchkin. There's a lot. We'll be going over the treasure pile first, starting with the level up cards. These cards I wanted to represent specific situations in Nintendo's key franchises where you would do something significant, such as winning a race, or as it's so eloquently put, got rich and didn't die trying. Certain cards I've been inspired by my friends to make, like All Grown Up, which represents Link maturing into adulthood. Now I move on to specific level up cards, which differ in the fact that you don't just level up, something happens alongside it. Death to Drones on the left you can only use if someone has mindless drones in play, which you'll see later. Steal a level lets you do just that. Take All the Credit lets you get a free level up after anyone's combat, and Complain to a Developer has you whining to gain a level. Footgear's up next, which there are only 3 of. Oh, Nitpick, Sonic isn't Nintendo. Well, he pretty much is now, isn't he? As you may notice from here on out, cards in Nintendo Munchkin are usually given a bit more comedic names instead of their actual names, to make it a bit more fun. Giant Shoe is actually called Karibo's Boot, I believe, and Quick Kicks are the Pegasus boots from Zelda. Power Armor and Ridiculously Huge Armor are specific, meaning they only work for certain races or classes. Ridiculously Huge Armor took me a bit to come up with since Gorons don't normally wear armor. Here we have the 3 normal armors of the game. Boring Old Tunic, which is the starting clothing of choice for every adventurer, a comfy spacesuit so you can explore any place, anywhere, and plumbing attire, which is worn when pipes need a fixin'. Confusing Headband and Hat of Wizarding are also specific, and I just had to include the Virtual Boy somewhere in this game, so I decided to put it as a headgear you could wear. Helm of Moves and Mask of Deity round out all the headgear for the game, and what an epic conclusion they give. Moving on to the weapons, we begin with Odd Alien Vessel, which is a Nintendo 64 controller abducting a cuckoo. I'd heard somewhere that the N64 controller looks like a spaceship, so I went all out with that one. The Near Useless Twig, which is one of the worst items in the game, is a Deku Stick. Hammer of Skull Crushing, which should look familiar to anyone who plays good games. Rod of Stars, which is the Star Rod. Familiar Shield. Haven't I seen that somewhere before? And the Really Big Hammer. Self-explanatory. It's big. Almost megaton. Mystical Djinn is from Golden Sun, a satisfactory RPG you can find on the Wii U eShop, by the way. Sword of Legends, which is exactly as its title states, and the Peculiar Exercise Device, which only women will understand. Actually, I had some trouble coming up with that card. I needed a women-only item and didn't want to seem sexist until I realized that sexism is funny, and I hadn't included the Wii Fit trainer in the game, so I just did it. Toad-shaped Battering Ram is a funny card. Peach is behind him, ready to swing. Poor guy. Gauntlet of Power may look familiar to you if you're a fan of bad Nintendo peripherals, and the Mischievous Boomerang is just so sneaky. Actually, Mischievous Boomerang was one of my favorite cards to make for some reason. I just really like that old school art of the Gorilla. That's the blue guy, FYI. Poor Man's Lightsaber is a joke. We used to call it that as kids playing the first Smash Brothers. Golden Memories is yet another card people will probably kill me over, but come on. GoldenEye 007 on the 64 is freaking legendary. Flute of Sleep is a seriously really good card and was a ton of fun to make, and right next to it we have the Fan from Smash Brothers, which you can ditch for a free flea from a monster. Hate that thing. Here we have some general bonus items, which don't count as equipment and you can play for free if you have the right specifications. Stilts are for Kokiri only, because they are still children and not very tall. Loud, annoying Amphibian cannot be used by a thief because it's just too freaking loud. Fairybow can be used only by Hylians. Overpowered undergarments ironically can't be used by warriors, even though all 3 of the people wearing them could be considered as such. Drooling Pet Plant is only usable by the Kokiri yet again, and the Cloak of Obscurity is a free bonus for anyone that is a thief. How nice. Mindless Drones carry an item for you for free but can be eaten by a previously mentioned card, and a Kiss You Can't Refuse is just cheap. In fact, the card I based this off of got removed in a few different versions of Munchkin. Crazy, huh? Blasting Barrel is literally a free +3 to anyone who gets it. Incredible. And Mr. Saturn is just so cute! I love that art for him. Now we're getting to the OMG I can't believe you had that items. Starting with Invincibility, which can cure any curse you get. Talk about ridiculous. I'd wanted to make both of these cards different, so I made the second one have Link and Nehru's love on it instead of a star. The Motherlode is a ridiculous card that grants the user 3 free treasures. 3! Try not to kill your friends when they get this one. Wand of Agony is almost equally ridiculous, if not more so when used late game when the discard pile is full. Game Genie is a replacement for the card Magic Lamp in the original version of Munchkin. Fitting, right? Super Guide is Loaded Die, where even if your roll fails, you can turn the die to whatever you want. Chance Time has us reliving the glory days of Mario Party by forcing another player to fight a monster for you. jacked up. Next we have the combat bonus items, which only work during combat and then are usually discarded after that. And on the left here we have Flying Rat, which is the first card I ever made for this game. Also Boom Boom and Smash Ball, with all giving a +5 bonus. In the +3 bonus category we have Shell of Destruction, ugh, Animal Buddies from Donkey Kong Country, and Poison Stew. Don't ever let Kirby cook for you. For +2s, we have the Ore Club from Kid Icarus, Bomb True, which is a bomb tree with Pikachu hanging out, and Golden Bananas. Everyone hates those. Bad Shrooms gives a +2 or can instantly kill Brain of Mother, which you'll see much later. And Sleepy Time is always a great time of day. Deku Nut, Captured Monster, and Blue Falcon are all what I like to call combat escapers. You play them and then can run away for free without rolling the dice. Doppelcherry does just what it does in the Mario games, duplicates you. So pretty much you double your combat strength when this is used. Dangerous Pitfall from Animal Crossing makes some poor soul re-roll their escape roll, and Polymorph turns any monster into a parrot and lets you take its treasure, one of the best cards in the game. With the treasure pile finished, we now move on to the door pile, and I'd like to begin with the races I created for this game. After a few days of deliberation, I decided that I wanted to use the races from the Zelda universe. I had wanted to find a way to fit in other games in the race category besides Zelda, since I didn't want the series to be overrepresented, but in the end I said screw it, it's my game, I'll do what I want. We have Double Battle, which represents 3 different games, namely Earthbound, Pokemon, and Mario RPG, Clone, which I decided to use Mewtwo and Mew for, Help Me Out Here, which has you stealing someone's item for a combat, and Forgotten, which I included a bunch of characters Nintendo doesn't do much with anymore outside of Smash Bros. Drive-By has the player discarding monsters they're fighting and stealing treasure, Perfect Health has all the clerics leveling up, and Cheat is sort of like mindless drones, allowing you to use another item for free. Half-Breed allows you to have 2 different races equipped. Took me a bit to decide exactly how I wanted to make this card until it hit me I could have the old transitioning with the new. Genius! Just like Half-Breed, Super Munchkin lets you use 2 different classes. This is the one time I felt I really wanted to use the original Munchkin art for the game, with an explosion behind it. Monster modifiers like Baby make monsters easier to fight but give you less treasure. The exact opposite works for Humongous and Ancient, which give huge buffs to a monster but net you more rewards for beating it. Enraged and Intelligent are smaller buffs but are still significant. Now we move on to the class cards. Beginning with Cleric, we have some awesome art of Mia from Golden Sun, Blissey, and Princess Toadstool. For Warrior, we have Fire Emblem included, check that one off the list, Donkey Kong, and Little Mac. For Wizard, we have Ness, which is a no-brainer, Geno, who I just had to include, and the Black Mage from Final Fantasy I. You know, that series that started on Nintendo. For Thief, we have Wario, makes sense, a Bloodthirsty Villager, which was one of my favorite cards to make, and Kirby. But why is Kirby a thief? Because he steals powers, okay? The first 2 curses are lose a level, and I had wanted these to be game over sprites from classic games. Here we have Link to the Past and the original Super Mario Bros. For losing items, we have Phanto on the left hovering over a Zelda key, the Happy Mask Salesman with the mask he lost silhouetted behind him, and Luigi freaking the crap out. What a wuss. For Lose Your Race, I decided to throw a little Splatoon into the mix. At the bottom it says you're a kid now. Lose Your Class represents the beginning of each Metroid game where you lose everything you have for some reason. Losing Footgear has Link throwing away those annoying iron boots, Samus losing her armor when she dies, and Mario getting his hat stolen by Klepto and Yukiki. Some may notice the change class on the left is Marche from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, a game which I loved when I was younger. Change Race actually worked out perfectly for me as young Link pretty much transforms into all 3 of the races I had included in the game. Funny story is I had forgotten Change Race existed as a card, and when I got to it I said, wow, I could just use Majora's Mask images. How freaking convenient. Change Sex is classic Zelda. Seriously, man or woman? Whatever. Truly Obnoxious Curse is classic Donkey Kong, and DLC has everyone losing out. How appropriate. Lose 2 cards is Kirby sucking in a couple of classic Pokemon cards, namely Charizard and Mewtwo. Oh, the good old days. You may also remember Cuckoo from the main video if you watched it. Link in the description. Become a Trophy is a play on words. A trophy, atrophy, you get it. Mario is missing, I had to include Ouija. Last but not least, we finally have the true meat of the game and the main way to win, monsters. Starting off with a bang, there's Lame Koopa, who's not only lame but also lame. Another play on words. Krabs is a card that isn't a personal experience, but was a cool way for me to include Krabby, Kingler, and an embarrassed Link into the mix. Ridiculously Fragile Pots actually do net you a level up if you beat them. The original card was Potted Plant. Sewer rats are a joke because there was a time in every RPG you played where you would fight these, so I threw it in with a nasty looking Rattata. Drooling Slime is the actual name of the original Munchkin card it's based off of, but as you can see, I changed it up a bit. Yes Man Jr. because Earthbound. Dr. Creepy Shima is the face of the Brain Age games. Not sure why, but it seems creepy to me. Bad Poochie is Poochie from Yoshi's Island thinking very bad thoughts. Flying Goomba are just a nuisance. Large Evil Coco was an awesome art of the cuckoo wearing Majora's Mask. How random is that? Funsuckers are all different types of Metroids, and King Snora is here to lull you to sleep. Bothersome Hellspawn because Kid Icarus. Odd Ferryman because who doesn't want to murder Tingle? Hungry Behemoth may be familiar to you if you've played a certain SNES gem. Shameless sex appeal is a joke, especially since Nintendo doesn't do it very often. Crazy Red is here to rip you off with a fake painting. The painting is also a joke because it's of a game that will never be released. Oh no, it's the overused mascot! Kill it with ground attacks! Like is me making fun of the Zelda franchise for not making sense sometimes. Darkstalkers aren't the real name of this gang from Paper Mario 2. Looming Sphere you have to fight alone, ironically. Angry Pet Gorilla is Donkey Kong trying to interfere yet again. 128 Marios is a joke and was another game that wasn't released by Nintendo, which I believe was eventually made into Pikmin. Brain of Mother is Mother Brain and can be killed by bad shrooms. A large hand is another inside joke for Smash Bros. When we were kids, we thought it was odd that the final boss for such an epic game was Glover. Harbinger of Nightmares from Kirby! Yay! Gender confused pink monstrosity. Seriously, ever since Mario 2, Birdo is so strange. The Tree from Kirby and Tom Crook instead of Tom Nook. See what I did there? Giant Gross Thing, which is a pretty easy final boss, and Missing No. Don't let it delete your save file. Shaggy Longlegs from Pikmin because I freaking hate those things. Who doesn't? Undead Posse is out to getcha with a gang of ghosts from different universes. Mind blowing. Pirate King Cortez is such an awesome boss from Paper Mario, I couldn't help putting him in. Mike Tyson is one of the hardest bosses in Nintendo history. Now we have Ridley, who will kill you if he defeats you in combat. Scary. And the final boss. Not only because he's so hard in the actual game, but because he deserves more respect as a villain in general. King K. Rool. Thanks so much for sticking through this video with me. You must be pretty patient. I had a ton of fun making these cards even though it took forever, and I hope you can download them yourself and enjoy them too. Link to the original videos in the description. Rock on, everyone.